The dahlias are finally ready for digging up. We've had our first frost a couple of days ago, so I'm going to lift these tubers now and store them out of the frost for the winter. Now, I did dig up one bed of dahlia tubers the other day, and I filled that with spring bulbs. I couldn't resist. So let's get these tubers lifted and in out of the cold. I'm going to use my secateurs to cut the top foliage, leaving a stem attached to the root base, maybe 4 to 6 inches long, and use my garden fork to lift the rest of the plant, hopefully without piercing any of those lovely dahlia tubers. This first one's a bit more awkward. It had some chicken netting wrapped around it when it was a baby plant, and it's got some flower stems have grown up through that, so it's well secured. I need to untangle it. Clean. We have had lots and lots of rain, and we've got more rain coming, so the soil's nice and moist. So I'm just kind of teasing my fingers in around these tubers to knock off some of the looser compost, but I don't want to get too aggressive with it and risk snapping them off. Now, this was quite a big flowering variety. It's got enormous tubers on it. They're huge. Now, I see this has got 2 main stems growing out of it, one here and one here. So now would probably be a good time to cut this in half down the middle. I'm not sure if I'm brave enough though. I might let it dry out a bit. See how well it overwinters. Cut it in half in the spring. Right, into the wheelbarrow it goes. I'm actually going to cut these 2 growing stems a bit shorter. Maybe there. Oh my. One there. A bit of something there. And that one. Oh my goodness. There we go, Dahlia. That's you done. Oof. There we go. A more sensible size. It's got lots of growing stems on it though. So on this smaller one, I've got about 4 or 5 inches at the top here. Actually, this might split apart now. I can hear it cracking. There we go. Natural crack down the middle. Fat worm. Oh, it's huge. I don't know how much we can see. I can see a streak of sun on the camera. So that was a natural tear point. So I've got 1 tuber here and a second one from the same plant here. But the first one I've split as I'm lifting it. Let's rescue that worm. He doesn't need to go into winter storage. Stay in the compost. In you go. Back in the soil. So 2 lovely plants for next year. Super. Tubers I'm digging up are much bigger than I'd anticipated. I've got a large cardboard box I thought I would store my dahlias in, another bed of dahlias to lift, and I've already got a few large tubers that I dug up a few days ago. So there's no way they're all going to fit into that one big box. Not quite sure where I'm going to store them, but I'm definitely going to try my best to keep them going for next year. This one in particular is enormous. Right, the next bed. I need to cut some of these tops off before I start in here. And I put the big sheets of netting across it to protect it from the wildlife when I first planted them. They're surprisingly brittle, I can just snap them off. So now I've cut the tops off and I'm just left with a bed full of sticks. I am lifting some weeds that are in there at the moment. I want to get them out now before I start lifting the dahlias, rather than disturb these weeds and get them all fluffed up in nice new loose soil. That way they'll get left behind to regrow. Let's get them out of there now while they're easy to spot. I notice I have quite a few foxgloves have seeded themselves in here as well, and it's a bit emotionally hard to be pulling them up, but I have plenty of other foxgloves in other places. They don't need to be in this garden bed. So out you come, sunshine. Sorry about that, you're in the wrong place. And yes, I could stick it in a pot and replant it next year. It would do just fine. But as I said, there are other foxgloves in other places, so out she comes. Though having said that, I am trying to rebuild lots of flowering space that was once grassy meadow. So maybe I should rescue a couple of these foxgloves, put them in there. Going to get a pot and do that. These'll do, just to rescue a few foxgloves. It's hard to imagine, these are the pots I started my dahlias in this spring. Bonus! A couple of foxgloves to go in the new flowery beds.
Now I've cleared some weeds and rescued those foxgloves, time to get back to digging up dahlia tubers. It might be dry today, but it's really windy. I'm sure you've heard it. It's not good for the microphone. So I'm just ruffling my fingers through the soil to shake off any loose bits, giving my tubers a bit of a squeeze just to make sure nothing's rotten.
I'm feeling for any tubers that might be a bit squishy and rotten. So I can squash them out completely now. I don't want to put rotten squishy tubers in storage. Or that one snapped off. It seems quite when it was hollow, at least it didn't explode onto me. So as I was trying to explain, there's another one fallen off. That one feels quite firm though. So a couple of these have fallen off the plant, but they won't regrow. These are just going to rot. You need to have at least some attachment to this centre growing stem. So all of these are nice and hard, even the big ones underneath. Everything else feels good. So I'm going to cut these stems a bit shorter. They're really long, they're about a foot long at the moment. So on this particular one, I can only see one really good strong centre stem that very quickly divides out into 3 sections. So I wouldn't want to be splitting this one up. There's a little side bit here that might be separate, but it's so small I'd rather leave it attached to the main plant. So off come the excess. I'm cutting this all away. There's no point keeping it, it will just dry out. Ready for storing. See the fork? Can you see? Now we're a bit far back, aren't we? Bring me forward to here. Flip you over. Shake the soil off the top. Turn you up. Shake you out. Now this one here I see is damaged. It's actually hollowed out. I can get my finger in there. I'm gonna, oh, this is breaking into two plants on its own, so that's quite nice. So shake the soil off of this one. That tuber's hollow. Oh, this is not feeling good. Got quite a few hollowed out tubers on this one. That's rotten. That's rotten. Mush. Ah, mush. So this is already dead. So that's no good. I hope I've got some life in this one. I think this was my big purple flowering plant. That one feels nice and hard. This is snapping off, so it feels quite hard. We've got, there's another hollow one. This is not very good at all. Ugh. Squish. I've got one decent, oh you can't see, I've got one decent tuber out of this. Stems are rotty too. I don't know why. And I might have one here. I've got a main stem. This one still feels quite firm. I've got one big tuber which is still attached to a growing stem, a little bit, and this second one big tuber. There were lots of little tubers off the side of this, but they're all hollow and empty and rotten, so I need to get rid of those. I think I might take this one indoors to a cold room, keep a close eye on it, see what it does, make sure it doesn't rot completely. See what we get with this big one. These are big plants, so I'm expecting big tubers. Let's hope they're not all rotten. Get on it. Oh my. She's a beaut. Right, what have we got underneath? Oh, did I spike that with a fork? I can't have done under there. Maybe. Definitely something. Little scratchy bit there. Could have been me. Hello wormy. Off you go. Shake it all about. So I'm just ruffling my fingers in amongst them all to loosen off some of this soil. I'm going to cut these stems down shorter. So this looks like a promising option for dividing next year. I think it was my big favourite orange pom-pommy dahlia. I've got a good strong growing stem here and two more really close here, so I might keep these two together and cut through there, but I'm not doing it today. Oh, my arm in the way. That'll be a spring job. Unless it snaps on its own. Wow, this one looks really good. Wonderful. I'm just gently giving everything a bit of a squeeze. I don't want to bruise and damage it. I just want to sure there's nothing feeling rotten and soggy. Okay, one more for the wheelbarrow. I don't know what the camera's filming. Oh yeah, you've got my fork. Now this is a smaller flowering variety and it's got lots of little stems. I've left my secateurs over the other side. There's another label, rescue them. No use, there's nothing I can read on them now. There we go. I can get going. What have we got here? This is why I'm wearing gloves, try and keep my fingers clean. I usually end up with a hole in my glove and the soil works its way in anyway. I often don't wear gloves, especially when I'm weeding. I generally start, well this feels like it's got a separate, is it wanting to split? Yeah. Oh, a big fat worm, I can't get him out. Right, I've lost a root. It's no good, it's broken off the plant, it's just going to rot. So we'll throw that away. Too much top on this still. Get rid of some of it. Get it out the way. Nice. Small one. And its other half. It was just naturally wanting to split apart as I was shaking it around. So just the same with all as exactly the same as I did with the others, shaking off the loose soil, feeling for any rot. Oh, I'm rescuing the worms. Don't escape in there. No! Oh, you can't pull him out. Well, I don't know what you... Oh, that one's come apart. Ooh, another one. Nice little baby one for next year. That's the sort of size I was buying in the packets last spring. That then grew into this enormous bunch of tubers. It's wonderful. Right then, worm, out you come. You come in. No. So I've got a couple of big stems here. Do they want to stay together? Yes. They don't want to separate on their own. Oh, there goes one. I can feel it. This one's being very productive then. That's two little ones. Third chunk. And a fourth piece. Now they feel very secure together. No more separating happening. That feels a bit floppy. I'm going to take that off. Oh, it's got a stem though. I don't like that. I don't know why, I just don't. I'm going to throw it away, I've got lots. That one, two baby ones. Wonderful. All the dividing's happening by itself. Well, I think I have enough film footage of me lifting dahlias. I treat them all in the same way. Cut the top short, 4 to 6 inches. Shake off any loose soil that I can with my fingers. And I'm giving each little tuber a gentle squeeze with my fingers to see that they're nice and firm. No signs of rot. Or as I found with some of them, they were just hollow. So I want to get them taken off. It's darkening up and the clouds are rolling in and we are forecast some more heavy rains. So I'm going to switch you off and get this job finished so I can get them all indoors before I end up getting drenched. Well, I didn't quite beat the rain. I'm getting drizzled on as we speak. But I have dug up all the outside dahlias. This very first bed that I started with, I've dumped all my debris and top cuttings on. So it is clear underneath. And the next 3 beds up are done as well. The very top bed furthest away from us, I've planted lots of spring bulbs. I couldn't resist buying them the other day, so I have lots of daffodils and crocuses in that very top bed. I want them for the meadow area that I'm turning into flower garden, but it's not ready to be planted yet. It needs another couple of layers of my grassy mulch to really make sure those weeds are totally suppressed and gone. So I'm keeping an eye on it. It's developing nicely. But before I plant spring bulbs in that area, I want to be planting my perennials, so I don't go digging them up when I start planting bulbs. And I don't want to be digging up bulbs when I'm planting my perennials. But I want to put the perennials in first and then add bulbs. But I could not resist buying lots of extra spring bulbs, so I've crammed them all in on that top bed. And at least I have them. They can be growing and developing and multiplying. And I can dig them up from there and plant them into my new garden beds when I'm ready. And I'm sure by that time I'll be also ready to buy even more bulbs, so I can at least spread the cost. I keep having to remind myself, it is November. The garden is absolutely crazy. It is so mild. Yes, we had a very frosty, icy morning and I had to scrape the ice off the car in order to go to work. But at the moment, the sun is shining and it's really pleasant out here. This fuchsia's enjoying it. And there are a few things flowering around the garden that really shouldn't be. I've got nasturtium seedlings popping up. It is just daft. Again, we are in November. This oak tree behind me is still covered in green leaves. Yes, it's autumny weather. Trees are dropping leaves and I've gathered up lots of lovely leaf mulch. There's a lot of trees still holding green leaves. Oh, bumping you. Looking along that hedgerow, still incredibly green, and the grass keeps growing, but I can't cut it because it keeps raining. Here in the woodland area, about a week ago, this amazing fungi popped up. It gives me quite the giggle every time I walk past. I'm not sure exactly what variety it is. Where is he? Oh, there he is. He's a splendid specimen though. Huge. As you can see by comparison to my hand, it's enormous. Some sort of puffball, I think, but I'm not certain. I'm no mushroom expert. So this is my dahlia haul laid out on a table in the shed. Now I was planning to store them in this box for the winter, packed around with some sawdust, but I don't think they're going to fit. In fact, I'm positive they're not going to fit. So I don't know quite what I'm going to do. I think it's going to get too cold in the shed. If we get a freeze, it will freeze in here, unless these are insulated with something. Maybe I'll have to raid the local supermarket for cardboard boxes in order to store them all in. I have the space, it's just having the packing facilities to stop them freezing. So I don't know. For the next few days they're going to be fine here, just drying out and curing a bit. We'll forecast lots more rain, so with lots of rain it won't be freezing. I did find 3 gladioli bulbs while I was digging. Oh, I can't reach. Box out of the way. So that's 3 extra bonus gladioli bulbs, along with those foxgloves I found. There'll be no trouble overwintering. I've stuck them in those pots and they can just sit outside and wait till I'm ready to plant them in the spring. I could even plant them now. I'm not sure where I want to put them though. So that's me for today's video, digging up the dahlias. Now I need to decide exactly how I'm going to store them over the winter. I was not expecting this much bulk. I'm very pleased to have this much bulk. It has given me a bit of a storage challenge. Definitely packed in with sawdust. I have a bale of sawdust from our local farm supply stores, so there's plenty of that to pack around them. It's just what I'm going to pack them into. Lots of extra cardboard boxes. Now I just need to get those lots of extra cardboard boxes. I almost forgot, there are still some more dahlia tubers in the ground, but they're in the ground in the polytunnel, and I'm going to risk it. I think I've got 4 or 5 plants in there. I have had dahlias over winter in the polytunnel before. It's a much drier environment and it does have the protection of the polytunnel, even though I don't put any extra heating in there. It seems to be enough for them to overwinter okay and come back the next spring. So fingers crossed they'll make it without any extra help. Something I could consider doing is actually planting these into an empty polytunnel bed. I'm not sure I want to be bothered with the effort though, of planting them now and digging them up next spring. I'm more concerned they'll start growing next spring before I'm ready to put them outside. I don't know, I'll have to give it some thought. So bye for now, and we'll see you next time.